broadcasting live from the No Holds Barred dungeon. It is episode number 8 now, is it not?
It is.
Number 8 of the No Holds Barred podcast
Whoa.
with Justin and Nick.
Yes.
YouTube.com/user/noholdsbarredpodcast. Twitter.com/NHB_podcast. Ustream.tv/channel/noholdsbarred-podcast.
You pretty much got them all.
I think we nailed it.
Yeah,
Look for us on iTunes, JR and NS Podcast. Everything gets put up on iTunes.
So far.
Yeah, so far. Podomatic. You can look us up on Podomatic, too.
Yes.
Live time with Justin and Nick. All the fucking links are in the description of the video.
The old name before we finally found out who we were.
Yeah, before we actually decided who we wanted to be. All right. It is freaking podcast time.
Whoa, Happy New Year.
Yeah, Happy New Year. Exactly. It's the new year now. It's 2013.
2013. New year, new resolutions that people can break.
Yeah. New year, new attitude. No, but yeah, it is 2013, and in celebration of 2013, and I think in a new thing that we're going to do on every podcast, we are going to crack a beer at the beginning of every podcast. So Nick's got his beer in his right hand. I got my beer in my right hand, and here we go.
Yeah.
Oh, that's tasty.
That is the sound of perfection right there.
Exactly. Nick is rocking an original Bud. I am more of a sissy, and I'm rocking a Bud Light Lime.
They're both good.
They're good. They're both good. You know what? Fuck it. I like lime beer. Sue me.
There you go.
Oh, that's heaven.
All
right.
That is pretty
So we
nice.
take our beers and we put them by our technical equipment, and off we go on our podcast.
Always a good spot. Always a good spot for electrical
exactly.
and beer.
So like we said, you know, it is 2013, and Christmas has gone by, and New Year's has gone by, and life can return to some semblance of normalcy, or close to it gets, or as close as it gets. That's. Hi, I'm Justin. Exactly. What did you get for Christmas this year, sir?
It was mostly just money and gift cards.
Money and gift cards, right on.
Christmas this season, it's more of in January.
Okay.
So, I mean, down at my dad's, I got money, which is basically pretty much I get every year, except for chocolates.
Chocolate. Sweet.
Yeah. And then, really, what I asked for down at my mom's was an armoire. Kind of like those.
Ooh, an armoire.
Yeah, well, I'll know the technical shit.
Like,
I don't think that's what they're called.
The thing that Elaine got on that one episode of Seinfeld?
Well, you know, it's kind of like the closets.
Yeah.
Where
it had all the soup Nazis recipes in it.
What?
Sorry, I was still talking about the Seinfeld episode.
No, it got like the rack in it, and it got the drawers. Just a place, you know, because I got like a shit little hanger in my room, and
okay, fair enough.
Yeah, and then I got a set of drawers. So just eliminate that all, take it out, and yeah.
Right on.
Yeah.
No, that's awesome. For anybody that follows Nick's YouTube channel, they know at least one present that I got for Christmas, which was WWE 13, which he was mad that I hadn't had opened before he had come over that day, and we opened it.
You.
You know what? I kind of dropped the ball, and I'm sorry.
You kind of did.
I am. I'm very sorry about that, because I did drop the ball, and I could see the disappointment in your face.
You really wanted that game. And you were like, oh, I can't wait for this game.
I know. I was like,
I can't wait for this game. It's going to be so great, guys. This hamburger does not look right, guys. And then when it came over, you're like, look what I got. The plastic was still on it.
Again, I reiterate that I was a good boy and did what I was supposed to do with my Christmas presents. But yeah, so I got WWE 13. I also got NHL 13, which was great because I haven't had a hockey game in a while. And then just sort of the staples. I got some clothes and got some chocolate, which sucks for a fat kid that's trying to stay away from treats. But, you know.
Christmas is the one season where you can actually go overboard a little bit.
Yeah, fair enough. I kind of gave myself a pass over Christmas, which now I'm reining it back, and I'm like, all right, let's get back to, you know, being realistic here. And so I got that, and like I said, some clothing. I got season 2 of The Walking Dead on DVD, which I was very happy to get because I hadn't actually watched season 2 yet, and they're already done season 3.
Oh yeah.
So I was very happy to get that.
That's one thing that I never watched.
No,
No.
It's so good. I have the first season upstairs on DVD. I'm going to have to lend it to you because it's only 6 episodes. It's not a huge investment for the first season, but it's so good.
Yeah. have to do that thing up.
Exactly. Fair enough. So, yeah, like we say, it is 2013. Obviously, as we mentioned on the last podcast, the Mayans were fucking wrong, which was great. But,
solar flare next year.
Exactly.
Or
now,
this year.
Or
Simpsons did it.
Or, fucking tomorrow for all we know, because that just seems to be the way that these apocalypse people tend to operate.
Probably. Yeah.
Yes. Now, the greatest Christmas present that any Canadian could have gotten was an end to the NHL lockout.
And it happened.
It happened. It was a few days too late.
It's official.
But that's the fucked up thing about it. It's not even really official yet. They say they have a framework for a deal and they got to do the legal jargon and blah, blah, blah. It's all but basically official. But
it's basically all official. I
exactly.
mean, the ones that went over to, what is it, Russia to play hockey. I mean,
one of those non-English speaking places.
One of those places where I don't care what the name is.
Going there on the No Holds Barred podcast.
I mean, they're coming back, and they're saying that there would be like a 48 to 50 game season.
Yeah, I think 48 seems to be realistic because what they said was in order to do a 50 game season, they'd have to start January 15th.
Oh, really?
But in order to do a full training camp, I don't think they're going to be able to get that done.
Oh, God, no.
So I think starting on the 19th is more realistic. It gives them the time to do the full. Well, not a full, but to do a 1 week training camp. Mm-hmm. So, yeah, it looks like January 19th. Now, I have to be the first one to stand up and say that, you know what, I was wrong. And for anybody that follows my YouTube channel, I did 2 fairly successful videos bitching about the lockout, basically. And basically saying, ever since the lockout came, like, guys, we're not having hockey this year. Like, there's no fucking way. These 2 arrogant, pricks are so horny for each other that they're not going to actually let a deal get done.
Right.
Which I still hold that they were horny for each other. But, it's true. Like, I had to, stuttering on the No Holds Barred podcast. I loved to talk shit to the NHL about the whole thing. And even a couple of days before this deal was made, I tossed out these long fucking elaborate tweets to the NHL.
I was
just like, it's just like, I thought they were great, but then, a couple days later they said, we got a framework for a deal. So maybe I pissed them off enough that they actually got in there and made the deal. Maybe you can all thank me for the fact that the lockout is now over.
Well, it's just kind of bad seeing that the last time that the lockout happened, it was to better hockey. And,
exactly.
And this lockout is just, figuring out how to budget $3.3 billion in hockey, and
exactly, and
it was just stupid.
Yeah, and that's kind of the way that I've looked at it. Like the lockout in 2005, 2006, which is the one that you're referring to. I hated that it was happening, but at the same time, like you say, I felt like it was necessary. It was being done for the betterment of the game.
Yeah.
Whereas this lockout just felt like honestly, you're bitching and pissing and moaning about who gets the bigger slice of a $3.3 billion pie.
Yeah.
And you can all eat dicks because I make $12,000 a year, So, I mean, there was really no, and that's been the fans' sort of perspective about it. What I'd quick like to do is I'd just like to toss out a long list here of things that I tweeted the morning of. This was, would have been a couple days back, or was it Saturday? Yeah, I think it was Saturday. Saturday morning or Sunday morning when they actually announced that they had the framework done. And this is literally just word for word my exact verbiage of some of the tweets that I put out. There's a lot of relief floating around the hockey world right now. I worry about all those involved taking the largest remaining hurdle for granted, bringing the fans back. Backlash for this lockout felt much, much larger than it did back in 2005-2006. I firmly believe that it'll take a lot more than one Gary Bettman ass-kissing press conference where he drones on about having the best fans in the world, considering that both the league and the PA have done nothing but piss on our heads for months. That'll be a hard sell. And I hope that no one involved will be so arrogant as to think that the fans will just pull a Field of Dreams on them. Just because you've rebuilt it doesn't mean they will come back. The teams in the league need to, as they've done for their players, show us the money, in quotation marks, to bring us back. Maybe that seems arrogant and ungrateful of me, but so does the second lockout in 10 years that lasts into January. Reduced ticket prices and reductions in the prices of merch and concessions is a good start. Let's say 20% across the board for the remainder of the season. Extra incentives for season ticket holders? Buy one, get one free ticket deals? Fan appreciation events? How about all of the above? Guess what, NHL? It's our turn to be greedy pricks for a few months, and it's your turn to sit there and take it like good dogs. So that's what I put out on Twitter that morning, and so again, I was relieved that the lockout is over, and I'm still relieved that the lockout is over because at my core I'm a hockey fan.
Oh, definitely,
so,
me too.
You know, one way or the other, I was happy about it, but again, the NHL can't be so arrogant, and this is not me saying that they are, this is just me saying this is what you can't do. You can't be so arrogant as a league as to think your fans are just going to come back. And I think they have a better understanding of that this time around than they did last time. But a couple of other quotes that I happened to come across on Twitter. One is from his Twitter name is only EE, but you can follow him on Twitter at theory_of_ice.
I like this quote.
Yeah. I believe he's somebody that works for the Score television network. The NHL is like a hot dog, really fucking awesome, but also made of assholes. And I mean, it goes along with the lion's share of the fan reaction when the lockout was finally ended, and that goes again with a quote here from Down Goes Brown, which is a popular hockey parody vlog, whatever. The NHL and NHLPA, quote unquote, save the season in the same sense that drunken parents rush back and, quote unquote, save the baby they left in the parked car. And, you know, again,
as long as they crack the window, all is fine.
It's not a dog, sir. It's a baby.
Did I say that?
I think you did. Insensitivity on the No Holds Barred podcast, but practicality as well on the No Holds Barred podcast. Again, we need to keep in mind that, again, we need to be happy that hockey's back. And again, I think at the core, everybody is. But never lose sight of the fact that we've had 3 lockouts in 20 years, that we as fans and supporters and essentially financiers of the NHL, because the NHL wouldn't make a dime if it wasn't for the people watching the games.
God, no.
Right? And we have no say in that, and we have no control over that whatsoever. So we basically just sit there and go, can you give us our game back, please? Until they decide to do it. We need to keep in mind that the NHL currently has a commissioner and a Players Association executive director that have displayed much less care for the game as a whole and even less for the fans than for supposed public relations battles and who wins at the end of the day, which is, again, attributed to the fact that they're both just scumbag lawyers.
Yep.
And that in 8 years, we could be right back where we started in September.
We could be.
Right? Because when this deal expires, who's to say they're not going to do the exact same goddamn thing? So be happy that the league is back, but
well, hopefully in 8 years they won't be in the league anymore.
Well, fingers crossed. Fair enough. So that's probably all the bitching that we'll do about the lockout, unless there's something else that you want to mention.
No, basically, I'm happy and I'm not that hockey is back.
Right on.
You know.
Yeah.
I love watching it. It's a good time.
Yeah, and at the same time, we need to keep supporting junior hockey, sir. So we got to go to a couple of Mooseheads games.
For sure.
Especially down the stretch, because it looks like they're going to do good things this year.
I'm hoping.
In other news, we had a birthday recently.
Yes.
The Internet.
The Internet.
For the Internet, for which this podcast would not exist, nor any other.
The Internet turned 30.
The Internet is also for porn.
The Internet is older than me.
Yeah, it's true. The Internet is a couple years older than all of us. Yeah, the Internet turned 30 recently, and
whoa,
that's kind of interesting. It's kind of interesting that we would list a birthday for something that's more of an inanimate process than it is.
Why the Internet has taught me so much.
The Internet has taught me that. The Internet's taught me a lot. The Internet has taught me that we are all a global village, apparently, but that like 3 dudes in the global village control pretty much everything.
Global village like Farmville?
Yes, exactly. Farmville is a microcosm for the whole world. How fucked up is that?
That's pretty fucked up.
A little bit. The internet has also taught me that Asian girls Reiki me very much. And there go all of our viewers on the podcast. More racial insensitivity on the No Holds Barred podcast.
Oh, man.
The internet has also told me and taught me that there is no piece of information that is so trivial that you can't find it 24 hours a day, 7 days a week.
Oh, God. It's all up there. For grabs.
Everything. Like,
just make sure you don't look at the real naughty stuff or the popo will come knocking at your door.
That's true. Unless you're smart, you can get away with that stuff. Not that I speak from personal experience.
No, Justin.
No, never.
No.
You have a teaching career to think about. No, but yeah, we just thought it was kind of an interesting concept that the internet turned 30. And of course, as you know, the internet first started, and actually you told me this, that the internet first started as sort of a military only kind of thing in the 60s. Was it late 60s, early 70s?
I don't know, sir.
We think that number's accurate. Late 60s, early 70s, something like that.
Check the local stream. Maybe somebody can tell us.
Yeah, that's true. Fair enough. I'm just going to quick pop over to our Ustream stream. We still have our viewer, but they still, as of yet, decided not to post on the social stream to actually tell us who they are. So one more time, we're just going to remind you, post on the social stream so we know who you are. We will give you a shout-out live on this podcast.
If you're just wondering, we're talking about Ustream.
Yeah, we're talking about our Ustream stream where we are currently live, ustream.tv/channel/noholdsbarred-podcast.
Yes.
And if you followed our Twitter account, twitter.com/NHB_podcast, you would know that.
You would know. And a little bit newer news here.
Yes.
This has to do with hockey as well.
We're going to keep talking about hockey.
We're going to keep on talking about hockey until we milk the
milk the bitch dry.
Milk the bitch dry.
Which you can also find on the internet.
So, apparently, Dalhousie hockey, which I know you went to school in Halifax.
Yes, I did.
Not in Dalhousie, but at the Mount, and I lived in there for about 5 years.
Right.
The women's hockey team there, they pretty much have to forfeit the rest of the season because of a hazing incident.
Really?
Yeah, involving all the new women hockey players. And this is
something
quite,
you can also find on the internet.
I don't know what it is. The papers wouldn't say. My only guess is it involves a midget and a plunger.
Oh, the fun stuff. The fun stuff always involves a midget and a plunger. So, yeah, so basically, again, what this was the Dal women's hockey team, basically, like we say, having to forfeit virtually the entire season. Most of their roster, which, again, a typical hockey roster is probably between 25 to 30 players.
Yeah, they had 25. There were 20 regular and 5 new players.
Yikes.
Yeah.
I'm just going to pull up. There's a Globe and Mail article here that I'm just quick going to pull up.
Globe and Mail.
The Globe and Mail. Dalhousie University suspended nearly all of the members of its women's hockey team, effectively forfeiting the remainder of the season for taking part in a hazing ritual. The suspensions were announced on Thursday, bringing an end to the investigation that began in October, when a parent of one of the young women who was hazed approached the team's head coach. There were cases of intimidation, excessive drinking, personal disrespect, dildos, and humiliation. In short, bullying. Dildos may or may not have been involved. That's just my thought.
Some creative writing right there.
There's
a little bit reading.
It's a little bit, yeah. It was a little bit of creative license there.
I didn't hear the midget and the plunger in there.
Oh, anywhere. Sorry, midget and plunger as well. And we don't really mean to make light of, girls who were probably put through some mental anguish and stuff like that, because hazing can be pretty bad.
Yeah.
But for all this really sounds like was just like, here, drink this bottle of tequila.
Yeah.
And
it sounds
we're
like
going to take pictures
too
of
much alcohol and that's what too much alcohol and rowdy girls can do.
Exactly. Oh, don't I know? University life on the No Holds Barred podcast. but no, like this seems like it was relatively harmless, but everybody's really up in arms about the whole bullying thing, and this again falls under that sort of thing. 19 of 24 players were suspended.
Oh yeah.
God damn.
And they were suspended whether they took part in it or not.
Right. Yeah.
So if they weren't at the whole event, then sorry.
Yeah, too bad. I guess you're still screwed. And in light of that, the No Holds Barred podcast would like to present our top 10 things that probably happened at the Dal women's hockey team hazing. No, we probably won't do that, but we can let our imaginations run wild on it, of course. So yeah, we thought that was kind of funny, and it just, again, where we had the connection with Halifax and everything like that. It's just, you don't usually see it out of women's sports. You see it out of men's sports, primarily down in the States, but even up here as well. And it's just not something you ever see in women's athletics. I think like women's athletics has had to fight so long to be taken seriously, like alongside men's athletics. And I don't say that in a sexist way. I say that as I'm stating fact. It's women's athletics has had to fight very hard to be looked at on equal grounds to men's athletics.
Yeah.
That being said, then they go and they do something like this. And they haze their initiates, possibly with dildos, but we can't confirm, nor can we deny.
It's true. Because they won't tell us.
Exactly. They won't tell us. If they would tell us, they're like, well, we need to protect the anonymity of these players. It's just like, but they're not anonymous. They're the 5 players on the team that weren't there last year. They're not anonymous at all.
No.
They're the 5 that weren't there last year. If you pay any attention to Dalhousie women's hockey, you're going to know who those 5 were. Mm-hmm. But in any case, again, kind of a silly thing to do, girls, if you happen to be listening to this. But, if you want to call me and talk about it, my phone number is
Life goes on.
Life goes on in the No Holds Barred podcast.
Exactly.
Let it be. Let it be.
You just got a text message.
I did just get a text message. We're not going to worry about that right now. I believe that's my friend Leia. Hi, Leia. Leia's gorgeous. All right.
Leia?
You know what? That was actually why she was named.
Oh,
Her
really?
parents were huge Star Wars fans and named their daughter Leia. How cool is that? To a lot of people, it's going to be like, that's fucking dorky as hell. No way. That's cool. That is cool as shit.
That is pretty cool.
I like it. So we move from potential lesbian hazing to some more bullshit that happened down in the States. Nick, do you want to take the lead on this one? Because you're the one that mentioned it to me.
Down in Aurora, Colorado, there was another shooting.
Another shooting.
And this wasn't all like, I don't know the full details on it because I haven't really read the article really good.
Okay.
But basically what I got out of it is a guy entered a home and he had 4 hostages. 1 got out, but all the rest of them died.
Another day, another shooting in rural America.
Yeah. And basically it ended when the guy was up at the 2nd floor, I believe it was, shooting at the police, and the police were shooting back at him.
I hope.
Yeah.
God, the more cases like this that you hear, and I know this is like, I think the 2nd podcast in the last 3 or something that we've talked about a fucking shooting in the U.S.
Yeah.
The thing about this stuff is just, I find it, every single time this happens, I find it harder and harder and harder to even take a moderate stance when it comes to these people who are like, don't take our gun rights away from us. Like down in the States, like conservatives when it comes to gun, quote unquote, rights. And we've bitched and complained and moaned about the Second Amendment on this podcast. We're not going to do that again. Suffice it to say, the Second Amendment is bullshit. If you read it correctly, then you know it's bullshit the way people talk about it. But I don't know. And I got a couple guys on my Facebook, and I'm not. This is the one time probably on the podcast that I won't name names because I do like the people, and I don't hold it against them personally as people. I just think this particular viewpoint they have is horseshit. But I even saw one of them post something today that was like, It was like, what? We don't need less guns in America. We need more good Americans carrying guns, because then they can kill these people that try to do this stuff. I was like, how does that make them any better than the people that are committing things like what just happened here in Aurora?
And how do you classify a good American?
Yeah, yeah, well, exactly.
Joe Blow down the street could be a good American, then one day he could fucking snap.
Exactly.
You don't know.
Well, think about it. The kid that went in and shot those kids in Newtown, probably at one point would have been classified by the people that knew him as, oh yeah, he's a good kid, he's harmless.
Yeah.
The guy that went in and killed those people at the screening of the Batman movie, at some point in his life, someone was like, "Oh, he's a good kid. He's harmless." Exactly. The kids that shot up the fucking high school in Colorado way back when, and earned Michael Moore a few $1 million on a documentary. At some point, someone had to look at, they're harmless. They're good kids.
Yeah.
You can't quantify what is a good American and what isn't a good American. Again, you go back to the whole case in Newtown, that the kid that killed those little kids in that elementary school in Newtown took registered licensed guns out of a locked case that his mother had. You can virtually get no safer except for the little bit that you mentioned about the removing, what was it? Removing the
bolt.
Removing the bolt.
Yeah.
Well, like aside from doing that, there's not a whole heck of a lot safer you can get with guns like that.
Yeah.
The answer is fewer fucking guns. If this kid didn't have access to these guns, those kids in that elementary school would still be alive.
It's true.
The people in this Aurora townhouse would still be alive.
It's true.
A lot of those high school kids in Colorado way back when would probably still be alive.
True.
So the answer to the fucking question is fewer guns in the States, and I welcome anyone to step up and debate this point with us. Fuckers. Debate. Gun control on the No Holds Barred podcast. So that's we got that serious little piece of business out of the way. Well, the rest of this podcast is all going to be fun stuff. So now you can kick up your heels and enjoy some funny shit. I wanted to talk for a few minutes about online dating sites, and I've done the online dating thing before. I've done the long distance. Yeah, I've done the online dating thing before. I've done the long distance dating thing before.
I think I can remember that.
Well, the one fucking terrible instance was the one that I was dating in like when we were late in high school, like grade 11, grade 12. Remember, I had that girlfriend down in like fucking Kentucky.
I can't remember that one.
No, all right.
Well, all I remember is the fun stuff during high school.
Yeah. Fair enough. But yeah, I was involved in a long distance relationship with a girl down in Kentucky and North Carolina and West Virginia, and apparently she moved around a lot. That was one of the many lies that this girl told me while we were in our supposed relationship. But then again, this is, of course, teenage relationships, and it, is not necessarily reflective of current trends in online dating. But what I can't stand about these goddamn dating sites, and there's a million of them now. Oh, there's a fucking million of them.
Yeah.
There's so many. The biggest offenders, of course, being things like eHarmony and Christian Mingle, whose commercials are on all the time.
I fucking hate that one.
ChristianMingle.com. Find God's match for you.
I want to go and punch all those people in their faces.
Did God make the website?
God is speaking to you right now.
Is God a webmaster, or?
God is everything.
God is everything. I find it really interesting why they need a website called ChristianMingle.com when eHarmony is basically fundamentalist Catholic.
Why can't they just go to church? That is like the equivalent of Christian Mingle.
It's true.
But you can meet people in person and not a website.
Nick is dropping science on the No Holds Barred podcast. I didn't even think of that shit, sir. That's good stuff. If you have an account at Christian Mingle, close your account and fucking go to church.
There you go.
If you want to meet a Catholic, go to Catholic Woodstock, which is church every week. So, that fucking makes a ton of sense.
Doesn't it?
It really does.
That just came to mind.
I can't believe that didn't come to my mind sooner. Right on. Yeah, that was actually hilarious and amazing. So good job, sir. It's the double whammy on the No Holds Barred podcast. Fantastic and hilarious. But yeah, so like I say, there's so many of these fucking websites now. It's like, we talk about eHarmony and Christian Mingle, who are essentially the same thing. Now LifeMates. There's LifeMates commercials on every 6 seconds on TV now.
Yeah.
And it's just like, I tried the online dating thing, but it wasn't for me. I was looking to meet someone real. Then I found LifeMates, and it changed our lives.
Oh, God.
I had the same problem. I tried online dating for over a year, but it just wasn't for me. I was looking for someone I could trust, someone real. LifeMates met with me in person. We went over what I was looking for, and they did the rest. LifeMates gave us what we couldn't find on our own. Each other.
Aww.
Fuck you and that bullshit.
Pretty much.
Honestly, things like LifeMates, that's just like, that's so upfront with being a goddamn scam. It's just like, it's not even funny. It's just goddamn terrible. But then there's probably the worst one, even worse than LifeMates.
Worse than LifeMates?
Worse than LifeMates, worse than Christian Mingle, worse than fundamentalist Catholic eHarmony.
Oh, boy.
Plenty of fucking fish.
In the ocean?
POF.com.
Or POS.com?
I was about to say POS.com, so we're going to do a little fist bump here because we are on the same page.
Yeah.
Plentyoffish.com is the worst of the internet. The worst of the internet's 30 years is just like all amalgamated on fucking Plenty of Fish. Plenty of Fish is a website where, again, you can set up a free dating profile and you can try to meet someone basically to fuck. Because let's face it, Plenty of Fish is not a relationship site. It's you know what? It's just not.
I've never been on any of these.
You've never been on any of these?
No.
You've never been on Plenty of Fish? Not even one time?
Not even one time.
You have to be like one of the 6 people in the world that's never been on Plenty of Fish.
I've never tried any of the dating sites.
You know what? I have so much respect for you right now, sir.
Nice.
I wish everybody could have seen the fucking shifty eye that Nick just gave me. It was hilarious. Yeah, no, plenty of fish is a goddamn scam. Up, down, left, right, and center. It's just fucking terrible. It's all these people who go on there and they're just like, you know, I'm sick of the bar scene. And I just want to meet someone that I have a real good chemistry and a real great connection with. And then you talk to these girls, basically. Guys are a little more transparent. Most guys on the site is just like, I want to meet somebody with a fucking smoking body, and all the rest will just kind of fall into place.
Very much.
You know,
smoking body and likes to drink. Because
that's what guys do. Yeah, gender inequality on the No Holds Barred podcast.
Well.
But like you, excuse me. Sorry for coughing in your ear there, kids. You talk to these girls and they're just, oh my God. It's just like, it's such a fraud, and you feel like you've been duped so terribly. You feel like it's just like, they told me not to click the pop-up and I clicked the fucking pop-up. Like, that's exactly what it feels like, because it's like, you talk to them and it's like, man, I think I honestly feel like I meet these things that you're looking for, and they'll send like 1 or 2 messages to you and then it'll just die off. And then you message them a couple months later and it's just like, so why did we stop talking? It's like, well, you know, I looked at your picture and I just didn't think you were very good looking. And it's like, well, why the fuck didn't you tell me that up front?
Yeah.
This is of course not speaking from personal experience, as I am a sexy, sexy man, but you know, lies on the No Holds Barred podcast.
I didn't say anything negative.
No, it's true. But I mean, like, Plenty of Fish is just a fucking fraud. And if you have a Plenty of Fish account, no, close it. Go away.
Close and go to church.
Go to church. Meet somebody from Christian Mingle. And then now there's all these sort of offshoots of the dating sites you're talking about. senior people meet. You're talking about fucking J-Date. You're talking about J-Date is the Jewish one. Black people meet. Adult Friend Finder.
Really?
Yeah.
Really?
Really.
Really?
Really. It's kind of silly. Like, so, or no. The one that's the best. What's it called? It's called Elite Mate.
Elite Mate?
Elite Mate. It's for people that only make 7 figures or above.
Why?
Because millionaires should marry millionaires.
No. That's not a good idea.
That's the way it happens, and that's why America is America.
The way that it should happen is millionaires marry somebody that doesn't have money so that they can leave them and they don't become millionaires anymore.
It's a good point.
It equals out the economy.
Exactly. See, this is the thing. Rich men need to marry poor women who are fantastic sexually. They stay with them for about 6 months. The women leave and take half their shit. That is the way that this should work.
It should.
What are people not understanding?
I don't know. People don't understand the world these days.
People don't understand the world these days. And with that said, we are introducing the return of one of the best, most highly received and regarded segments ever to grace this podcast.
Once.
It is time for the second bi-episodic, I guess, because it wasn't on the last episode, but I think it was on the one beforehand. So the bi-episodic Craigslist segment.
There you go.
We're going to let Nick talk to you guys for a few minutes. Nick and Shiki Baby, while I pull up Craigslist.
Okay. So before we go any further, and I haven't graced you with his presence, we shall get a little Shiki Baby. And what do you got us for today?
But you are another fucking jackass, no good motherfucker.
Yeah, and that's for everybody who goes on Craigslist and tries to find people to fuck. Because that's something that you don't do.
It's just something, it's just something that you don't fucking do, because it's just like,
go to Christian Mingo, go to church, go to somebody.
Exactly.
Go knocking on random doors. Just say, you're cute. Do you got somebody in your life? No.
No?
Okay.
Well, then I'm coming in.
I'm coming in.
Exactly. And that's the way you get women from the No Holds Barred podcast. I'm going to take the very first one here because the title is fucking hilarious. This is a woman looking for a man, wink, wink, in the Halifax Greenwood area.
Ooh.
The title of this article is Barely Legal Teen Babe Looking for Dick. Looking for Big Dick, sorry.
That sounds legit to me.
I'm telling you.
I might even, reply to this.
Nick's pulling up his email on his phone as we speak. Okay, so when I say barely legal, I mean it. It was my 18th birthday yesterday. I'm just going to pause here for 1 second.
Wait, yeah. Was this today that this was made?
This was posted today.
Okay.
Nick, let me ask you a question.
Shoot.
And I'm going to invoke your knowledge of legalese.
Yes.
What's the age of consent in Canada?
Age of consent would be, I believe, 14 with adult, 18 legally.
You're very, very close. The age of consent in Canada is 14 years old as long as there's not 3 years or more difference between the two parties, or 16 years old as long as the person is not in a direct position of legal authority over a person. Or not really legal authority, but just authority.
Legal authority.
Yeah, exactly. Maybe as a game in the bedroom, but not. We're talking actual authority.
Okay.
So for the young lady, wink, wink, making this article, today was my 18th birthday. Well, that means you've been legal for 2 years, my dear.
Yeah.
If you're talking about legal to do porn, then you're probably correct. But You've been able to legally fuck for 2 years, and I'm sure you have been.
Maybe she's blonde.
Maybe she's blonde. She probably is. So when I say barely legal, I mean it. It was my 18th birthday yesterday, so you're wrong there. And I want some, S-U-M, for all those math freaks out there.
Ooh.
Big hard cock for my tight wet pussy. Boy, haven't we heard that a trillion times on the internet. I bet you that's the most used phrase on the internet besides LOL. Smiley face. So if interested, reply with dick pic. I am currently in the process of taking a picture of Nick's dick so he can reply to this article.
We're whipping it out.
And I'll respond with a pic of my own. Wink. Well,
I'm sure you will.
You know what?
Wait a minute. A picture of your dick?
High fives on the No Holds Barred podcast.
I don't want it. I don't want it.
A picture of your dick, you lovely little tranny. Oh man, that was really funny. I didn't even think of that. Good job, Nick. But you know what? You know how easy it is to find a picture of a vagina somewhere on the internet? We found one yesterday, and we were just fucking cruising the Discover section of Twitter.
I know. It was on just Twitter.
It's just like, and all of a sudden,
like tweet. Well, that's a vagina.
Yeah, it's just like tweet. Pussy with a clit ring. Tweet. And so, I mean, do you have any idea how easy it is to find a picture of a vagina on the internet? What makes yours so special? You know what? It's a great question. We're going to move on to a new Craigslist ad because we've sufficiently made fun of this one.
Yeah.
Of course, and for this again, we're looking in the Halifax Craigslist under personals, under casual encounters, because that's really where the funny ones are.
It's true.
I see an article here posted on December 31st called Adult Breastfeeding. I am interested in starting to breastfeed a man on a regular basis. Well, I couldn't even get through the first line. If you always were interested in this, you are fucked up, sir. Please drop me a line, and I am attractive D cup. You're also fantastic in English. And we'll just keep growing if you are good to them, winky face.
As long as you can make chocolate milk.
Well,
I'm all for it.
You know what? If she's black. Racial insensitivity on the No Holds Barred podcast, but don't even pretend that you weren't thinking the exact same goddamn thing. Is that how girls work?
How?
We don't know.
I don't know.
Like we know how girls work.
Yeah.
It's just not happening. And let's see if we can grab one more Craigslist ad. Let's see. Need some revenge sex.
Revenge sex?
Apparently from Can Host, Nova Scotia.
Apparently she broke up with somebody.
Apparently she did. Nick, you want to take the lead on this one?
If I can see it. Looking for a hot guy to come...
You found two.
Come hang me. Or...
to come hang me.
What the hell?
Looking
it's
for a hot guy
away.
To kill me on Craigslist.
It's coming too far away. Okay.
That's what she said.
Looking for a hot guy to come bang me.
There you go.
To get back at the last guy.
Soon.
Send pic and or stats.
Pick or stats.
And I will pick out the best guy for me. I'm sure you will.
I'm sure you will. I can only imagine that this person, who is probably not a girl at all, because let's face it, Craigslist is like chat rooms when we were teenagers. It's like, I'm a girl, I'm 16 years old, and I want to fuck 6 guys. No, you're a dude.
Yeah.
Who's probably 12, and probably Richard.
We've done it before.
Yeah, exactly. You know what? It's been done to me. So looking for a hot guy to come bang me to get back at the last guy soon. Send pic and or stats soon. But like, why would someone be like, hey, send stats? What good is that?
If they just want revenge sex, why just not like go and find somebody?
Well, exactly. You
can You're cute. I just broke up with my man. Want to fuck me? Okay.
Exactly. Go to a bar.
Yeah.
You don't need to find somebody on fucking Craigslist, which again is proof positive why this is not a female. You know what I mean? Like, girls are not this dumb. They're really not. They can be dumb about some stuff, like who they stay in a relationship with, but they're not usually dumb this way. Right? Right. So that's the end of our Craigslist segment for this week. Hopefully we bring it back next week, and hopefully it is equally as funny as this one. We had chocolate milk coming from lactating black woman. We had revenge sex from a woman that's probably a man.
Yeah.
And barely legal, but has been legal for 2 years. Probably also blonde.
And has a dick.
And it probably has a dick.
Yeah.
Keeping with Craigslist, this was a fun little story that Nick came up with very recently from a Kansas. Or no, sorry, we came up with this together.
Yours.
Oh my God, that's right. Not remembering what's going on the No Holds Barred podcast. A man in Kansas may potentially be facing a paternity suit over donated sperm over Craigslist.
What?
Clinically fucked up story. So what happened was this guy had to be killing for money and went on Craigslist, and there was these two lesbians. I shit you not. If I'm lying, I'm dying. These two lesbians who have already adopted 7 other children.
Seven.
Okay.
Okay.
Adopted. I mean, like, look, I'm not against adopting kids. I would like to adopt kids someday because there's far too many kids in the world that don't have parents.
Yeah.
But 7?
That's a little bit much.
7?
Yeah.
7.
Really?
7.
Really?
Holy shit. So they've already adopted 7 kids. So now they go on Craigslist because now it's like, oh, we want to have a kid of our own. Because apparently we have too much money still.
Well, I guess. I mean, adopt children, I mean, they're always going to be adopted. I mean, you love them like it's yours, but
if they got lost.
Yeah. If they got lost, would you really go look for them right away? You'd be like, oh no, Jimmy is lost.
Oh God.
He was the adopted one. Yeah, you're right.
Exactly.
He can last for a good 24 hours.
This is why I'm so happy that we decided to do this podcast together. So good. Anyways, so this guy responds to this ad, donates sperm to this lesbian couple. They have a kid. The lesbian couple breaks up. Think of the children.
So how did he donate the sperm?
I'm going to assume that he went over to their house, and I mean, they're lesbians, so neither one of them wanted to watch. So they just had him go in the kitchen and do it in a Dixie cup.
So wait, okay, he goes over in Dixie cup, and then what? They use like a turkey baster, or what the hell happens here? I don't know. Spell it out for me.
I'm going to assume Dixie cup, turkey baster, YouTube Hangout, because that's some funny shit.
YouTube Hangout, and spatula and plunger.
But that was for the fun stuff afterwards.
Okay.
So he donates this sperm and then goes along his merry way. And now that the couple has broken up, dun, 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 now apparently the state of Kansas may be searching for paternity rights and laws against this guy for donating sperm. Because he didn't donate it through an actual hospital, like didn't donate it through state avenues, really. He just, Dixie cup and turkey baster.
Yeah, where he didn't go the legal way.
Exactly.
They're like, no,
they're just going to be like,
you're responsible.
Exactly.
Because you didn't go the legal way, you didn't, do you got to pay money to donate?
No, you get paid.
You get paid.
Yeah. Our money problems are fucking done, sir. We need to find a place around here that takes sperm donations. It'll just be like, you text me in the afternoon. What are you doing? Huh? Going to work.
Go
Terrible innuendo on the No Holds Barred podcast.
If only my job was that easy.
I know, eh? Jesus. That's fucked up. But yeah. But funny as hell. We both paused to take a drink of beer at the same time. That was a bad idea. That was like 10 seconds of dead air.
A little bit.
Anyways, no worries. So yes, so this poor fucker in Kansas is apparently going to be nailed for paternity, possibly, for this knuckle child that he created.
Poor guy. Bet you won't do that again.
Exactly. He's just like, I'm never jerking off into a Dixie cup for turkey baster for lesbians ever again. It's a life lesson for us all.
Life lesson.
All right, Nick, you had a funny story that you want to tell?
Not really a funny story.
I thought it was kind of funny.
Why would you think it was funny?
Just by the title. I'm hoping nobody got hurt, but...
Yeah, yes, I made you write it down like that, but it's not really funny.
Oh, well, that's unfortunate. All right, well,
so
fire away.
Of course, I said that I lived in Halifax before.
Mm-hmm. And actually, sir, while you tell this story, I'm going to go close the door because it's starting to get a little nipply in here.
Just a little bit.
Keep talking, sir.
While I was in Halifax, I was involved in the Halifax Ground Search and Rescue, which isn't really ground search and rescue because we do air too. Just recently, one of our vehicles caught on fire in the garage.
Bernie.
Yeah, Bernie, but not good Bernie. Anyways, it was what our Suburban, which is also the transport vehicle that we have, and it pretty much did fire damage to the garage. And I mean, it's a fairly new garage. We did.
Oh, it was in the garage.
Yeah.
Oh, that part I didn't know. I thought it was like outside.
No.
Where people could come and see and pay for popcorn.
Popcorn. Yeah, it was a fairly new garage. I mean, we did a lot of like boot drives and stuff like that to raise money to build that garage, and we got donations and stuff too. And that's
now this is starting to get sad.
Yeah, that's kind of what people don't understand. It's search and rescue. It's not overly government funded. I mean, we do a lot of fundraising, boot drives, and stuff like that to raise money for, like, building a garage or getting material that we need.
Right.
I mean, there's stuff like gas and stuff like that we can claim, but, I mean, there's other things that we do ourselves.
Yeah, absolutely.
So, I mean... I don't know. It's just kind of sad to see because, you know.
It is. It is for sure. Now, for anybody that happens to be listening to the podcast, is there a way for people to donate to the search and rescue?
I don't know.
Okay.
There probably is a way.
Does search and rescue have a website?
They do have a website. If you check them out, HRSAR, so HRSAR. .ca.
Right on.
There would probably be a way on there that you can donate to the team.
Excellent. Well, then I would like to advocate, and I don't usually like to do this, but again, I thought it was kind of a fun. It was going to be a kind of a funny story. It ended up being a rather sad one. So, if you happen to have a couple extra bucks floating around, probably don't after Christmas, but so it was, what was it? HRSAR.
Yep.
Right on. .ca. Go on that website, and if you can spare a couple of bucks, donate to the Halifax Area Search and Rescue. I know that, I know they do good work despite the fact that they hired you. And
they didn't hire me, man. It's all volunteer.
Oh yeah, that's right. They didn't. Yeah, they didn't hire you. Just showed up and was like, I know how to drive. You're hired.
I know how to drive and I know how to look for things.
I also drive really fast.
I didn't tell them that.
No, fair enough. No, I don't want to. I actually don't want to even for a second, even jokingly, undermine the work that you've done with them, because I think it's quite cool that you would sort of go out on a limb and do that. And your mom was involved too, wasn't she?
Oh yeah, right. She was involved way before I was involved.
Was she?
She
Cool.
actually worked the Swiss Air.
Oh wow.
Yeah.
Wow.
Which was quite amazing.
That I didn't know.
No,
wow.
I wasn't old enough.
Right.
Well, I went out and went in the woods with them when they did the training down at the base, but I wasn't old enough to be a member.
Oh, okay. Fair enough. somber tones on the No Holds Barred podcast.
Yeah.
Okay. Well,
Feel
then,
it down in your pants.
feel it down in your pantaloons. Well, now that we've done that, what I think we'll do is we might make this a slightly shorter episode than some of the other ones. Right now we're cracking at about 54 and a half minutes.
Okay. Are you going to cut that one out and just go down to the reminder?
Absolutely.
That's what I was thinking also.
Oh, buddy.
Yeah.
Right on the...
What was that?
We suck at fist pumps. All right. Basically, what we want to do now is we just want to...
Yeah.
Sorry again for the coughing, folks. I do not understand where these coughing fits are sort of coming from.
Fuck you, piece of shit!
Shiki, I'm sorry. I know I'm letting you down. I don't know. Sometimes a man's just got to cough.
I want to know, are you the man or are you a fucking piece of shit? No good motherfucker.
Shiki, you already know the answer to that question. Shut up, Nick. We're having a moment. Shiki, I'm sorry. I'm just really sorry. I hope you can forgive me. All right.
He's gone. He ran out of beer.
Oh, yeah. Ran out of medicine. It would be the ultimate fucking dream to have the Iron Sheik on the podcast. Holy fuck. Wouldn't that be great?
And Sheik, baby, if you ever decide to grace us with your presence, there's always a case of beer here for you.
Exactly. And you know what? A fucking retweet. If Shiki would ever retweet something that we tweet, oh my God. Wouldn't that be great? But be on our podcast, please. We love you. In that same vein, we wanted to remind you guys that, as we mentioned a few episodes back now, that we were going to be taking professional wrestling pretty well completely off the podcast. And if you'll notice, we have not been talked about wrestling for the last 4 or 5 episodes. Well, it's time.
It's time.
It's Veda time. No. What we are going to do is we are going to be starting up our wrestling podcast.
Exciting.
The first episode of the wrestling podcast is going to be next week.
Next week. Can't wait.
Exactly. And now you're going to be getting twice as much No Holds Barred content as you were previously. What better Christmas present could we possibly give people than twice as much us?
Dalhousie hockey women's team.
That's true. We
with
could
midgets and plungers.
Midgets and plungers and probably dildos. We actually, you know what? Sorry to any of the Dalhousie women's players that may end up listening to this podcast. Oops. But yeah, so we're going to be starting the wrestling podcast next week. It's going to be, I don't know if we're going to have it on Monday or if we're going to have it in the middle of the week or something like that, but we will definitely be hyping that shit like hell.
Yeah, on the Twitter and the Facebooks.
Exactly.
And whatever else.
Yeah, whatever else we can possibly do. I'm going to do a new hype video on my YouTube page, so that'll be
awesome.
20 or 30 people will watch that, and they'll be super hyped.
We got a little bit more logistical data that we have to figure out before we...
Yeah, exactly. What I can tell you is we are going to have guests.
Yep.
We're going to have our first 2 guests ever on a podcast that we have done. We're going to have both of those coming in through Skype, I believe.
Yes.
And we may even be able to hook through Skype through Nick's phone. We haven't quite figured that out yet, but
it's done.
Oh, it's done? Right on.
I can do it right now.
Beautiful. So we're going to be having our first 2 guests on there. We don't want to spoil the surprise and tell you who the guests are going to be yet. I will give you a hint. One of them is a friend of mine from university, and the other one wears a mask. Those are the only hints. Ha ha da na 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 na. No, unfortunately, it's not going to be Kane. But it would be awesome to have a professional wrestler on the podcast at some point.
Oh, definitely.
I know a couple, so who knows? Maybe we might have one sometime. But we do have 2 guests lined up. That first episode of the podcast, by the way, is going to be entirely dedicated to previewing the Royal Rumble.
Has to be done.
Exactly, because you know what? The Royal Rumble is one of the probably top 2 marquee events in professional wrestling besides WrestleMania.
WrestleMania.
So, you know what? It's a huge event, and we're going to dedicate the first episode of the podcast to it. Check that out next week, and I think we're done.
I think we are done.
I think episode number 8 is in the books. Is there anything else that you would like to add? Come on, sir. I give you this platform at the end of every podcast to add something clever, witty, and evasive.
Budweiser is good beer, and I'm almost done it.
Oh, yeah? We'll get a little cheers to that one. Maybe we should run up to Tim Hortons and grab a tea or something.
Sounds good. We gotta walk down to my car unless you want to walk.
No worries. We will walk down to the car. Ladies and gentlemen, I think that is it for us for this week for the podcast. Thank you so much for checking in on us. YouTube.com/user/noholdsbarredpodcast. Ustream.tv/channel/noholdsbarred-podcast. Twitter.com/NHB_podcast. Find us on iTunes by searching JR and NS Podcast. Find us on Podomatic by searching Live Time with Justin and Nick. We are outskis for this week, and we will see you on the Wrestling Podcast.
Later, guys. Happy New Year. Love y'all.
Especially the Dow women's hockey team.
Oh, yeah.
Oh.